Hello, dear one. Let's begin by finding stillness. Let your shoulders soften. Let your breath slow. Let your thoughts drift like mist over quiet cobblestones. You're safe here. You're warm. You're ready to wander gently into a story that glows softly like a lantern in the fog. Feel the hush of twilight settle around you. The air is cool, but not cold. It carries the scent of damp earth and distant hearthfires. You might hear a faint rustle of leaves or the soft pad of paws on stone. Let your eyelids grow heavy. Let your body sink deeper into comfort. And as you listen to my voice, you'll find yourself drifting into the quiet streets of old Lundenwic. Our story tonight begins in a village wrapped in fog, a place called Lundenwic. Long before the city of London rose with its towers and carriages, there was this quiet settlement nestled by the River Thames, where the mist rolled in like a lullaby, and the villagers whispered to the spirits of the season. It is All Hallows Eve. The year is 1382, and the sun has just dipped below the horizon, leaving behind a sky the colour of mulled wine and ash. The villagers are busy, but not with work. Tonight is sacred. Tonight they carve lanterns, not from pumpkins, no. That custom came much later. Tonight they hollow out turnips, small, knobbly, pale things. Their skins rough, their scent earthy. Each turnip is carved with care, a face, sometimes smiling, sometimes solemn, sometimes twisted in playful mischief. Inside, a tallow candle is placed. Its flame flickers golden, casting shadows that dance like spirits on the walls. These lanterns are not mere decorations. They are guides, they are beacons. They are meant to light the way for wandering souls, for loved ones lost, for spirits seeking home. You see, in medieval belief, the veil between worlds was thinnest on All Hallows Eve. It was said that the dead could walk among the living, not to frighten, but to visit, to remember, to be remembered. And so the villagers of Lundenwic, wrapped in woolen cloaks and soft leather boots, hang their lanterns from hooks and branches, from doorways and windowsills, each one glowing like a memory. The streets are quiet, but not silent. You can hear the soft murmur of voices, the creak of wood, the distant clatter of hooves on cobblestone. And somewhere, just beyond the edge of sight, a cat watches. She is black as midnight, with eyes like polished amber. She moves silently. Her paws never make a sound. Some say she is just a cat, but others believe she is something more. In medieval lore, cats were thought to walk between worlds, to see what humans could not, to guide, to guard, to whisper secrets to those who listened. This cat, she has no name. Or perhaps she has many. She slips through the fog like a shadow, pausing beneath each lantern, as if reading the carved faces, as if remembering. She passes the baker's house, where the scent of honeyed bread lingers in the air. She passes the apothecary, where dried herbs hang in bundles, rustling softly. She passes the chapel, where candles flicker behind stained glass, and prayers rise like smoke. And then she stops at the edge of the village, where the fog grows thickest, where the lanterns are few. She finds a turnip lantern, carved not with a face, but with a rune, a symbol, ancient, curved like a crescent moon. Inside, the candle burns steady. Its flame does not flicker. The cat sits and watches, and slowly, softly, the mist begins to part. Imagine now you are walking through these streets, wrapped in a cloak of soft wool, your boots tapping gently on damp stone. The air is cool, but your breath is warm. You pass lanterns glowing like stars, each one a story, each one a memory. You hear the distant crackle of a hearth, the low hum of a lullaby sung by a mother to her child, the rustle of leaves as the wind stirs the trees. You feel safe. You feel calm, you feel drifting, and as you walk, you notice the cat. She looks at you, not with fear, but with knowing. She turns and walks into the mist. You follow. The cat moves like a whisper. Her tail flicks once, then disappears into the fog. You follow, your footsteps slow, deliberate. The mist curls around your ankles like silk. The lanterns grow fewer now, but each one glows brighter. As if the darkness makes their light more determined, you pass a willow tree. Its branches hang low, brushing your shoulders. The leaves shimmer with dew, and you hear the soft drip, drip, drip of water falling onto stone. The cat pauses again, beside a small cottage half hidden by ivy. Its windows are shuttered, but a faint glow seeps through the cracks. She leaps onto the windowsill and peers inside. You step closer and see an old woman bent over a table, carving a turnip with a blade so thin it sings. Her hands are steady. Her eyes are pale blue like winter sky. She hums a tune, low and lilting, a melody older than memory. You watch as she carves a spiral, then a star, then a tiny heart. She places a candle inside and lights it with a twig from the hearth. The flame catches, and the lantern glows. Soft, golden, alive. She lifts it gently and carries it to the door. She opens it, and for a moment, she looks at you, not startled, not afraid, just knowing. She nods once and hangs the lantern on a hook above her door. Then she vanishes into the shadows of her cottage, leaving only the light behind. The cat jumps down and continues on. You follow. In the time of Lundenwic, people believed that lanterns could speak, not with words, but with light. They believed that the shape of the carving, the flicker of the flame, the scent of the tallow, could send messages to the spirit world. A spiral meant remembrance, a star meant guidance, a heart meant love. And so each lantern was a letter, a prayer, a whisper into the veil. They also believed that cats could read these messages, that they could carry them between worlds. Not all cats, of course, only the ones who walked alone, the ones who never meowed, the ones who stared too long and blinked too slow. This cat, she is one of those. The path leads you to the river, where the Thames flows slow and wide. Its surface is silver, like melted moonlight. The fog thins here, revealing lanterns floating on the water, turnips, hollowed and lit, drifting gently downstream. Each one carries a name, scratched into the skin, barely visible. You kneel at the edge and watch them pass. The cat sits beside you, her tail curled around her paws. She watches too. A breeze stirs your hair, cool and sweet, carrying the scent of apples and smoke. You hear a bell, faint, distant, ringing once, then twice. It is midnight. The veil is at its thinnest, and somewhere beyond the river, a lantern flickers keen and goes out. You reach into your satchel and find a turnip, small, firm, waiting. You take out your blade and begin to carve. Slowly, gently, you shape a spiral, then a star, then a heart. You place a candle inside and light it with a match. The flame dances and the lantern glows. You whisper a name, softly, so only the mist can hear. Then you place the lantern on the water and watch it drift. The cat watches too, and for a moment, you feel something shift. A warmth in your chest, a lightness in your breath, a hush in your thoughts. You are not alone. You are remembered. You are drifting. The cat rises. Her eyes catch the lantern's glow, and she begins to walk again. You follow her. Back through the willow grove, past the floating lanterns, back toward the heart of Lundenwic. The mist is thinner now. The stars above shimmer like frost. You can see the rooftops, the chimneys puffing gentle smoke. the lanterns still glowing in windows and trees. But something feels different. The village is quieter, not just in sound, but in spirit, as if the night has exhaled and the veil has begun to close. You pass the baker's house again, the scent of bread now faded, replaced by the soft sweetness of sleep. You pass the apothecary. The herbs no longer rustle, but hang still, as if listening. You pass the chapel, where the candles have burned low, and the stained glass glows with the last breath of flame. And then you reach your own door. It is a small cottage with a wooden door and a crooked roof. Inside, the hearth crackles, and the air smells of lavender and ash. You step inside, and the cat follows. She leaps onto the windowsill and curls into a ball, her eyes half closed, her breath slow. You take off your cloak and hang it by the fire. You sit and listen to the crackle of flame, to the hush of wind, to the silence that feels full. You reach into your satchel once more and find one last turnip. You carve it slowly, not with symbols, but with a simple smile. You light the candle and place it on the windowsill beside the sleeping cat. Outside, the fog begins to lift, revealing the soft curve of the hills and the shimmer of dew on the grass. The lantern glows, and you feel its warmth, not just on your skin, but in your heart. You are home. Now, dear one, let your breath grow slower. Let your thoughts grow softer. Let your body sink deeper into rest. You've walked the misty streets. You've carved your lantern. You've whispered your memory. You've followed the cat. You've watched the river. You felt the hush of All Hallows Eve. And now, you are safe, you are warm, you are ready to sleep. Let the lanterns of Lundenwic glow in your dreams. Let the fog wrap you like a blanket. Let the cat guard your thoughts as you drift into the quietest part of night. Good night, sleep well, and let the spirits find their way home. Relax now. Allow your body to settle deeply into the pillows, your limbs softening, your breathing slowing. Let your eyelids feel heavy. Let every muscle soften. Release. With each breath, feel a gentle wave of calm creeping up from your toes, through your legs, through your torso, your arms, your neck, your head. You are safe, you are warm, and you are drifting. Today, we will journey softly into a glassblower's workshop behind the great cathedral of Saint-Denis, where light, color, and stone speak to one another in whispers. Let your imagination float, as though carried on a hushed breeze through medieval alleys, through stained glass windows, into that secret chamber of flame and artistry. Our story today begins behind the soaring Gothic arches of Saint-Denis, in a quiet courtyard where the evening sky pales to lavender. In the flank of the cathedral stands a small chamber of smoke and flame, where a master glassblower has come to bend sand into color and song. You may hear the distant toll of bells, rung in slow peals by monks atop spires. You may sense the soft breath of wind through spires and flying buttresses, carrying a faint scent of moss, limestone, and candle smoke. In your mind, see the warm glow of embers, feel the slow hum of the workshop, and breathe in that hush. In the workshop, the glassblower, her name is Aveline, gathers fine, pale sand-crushed quartz, and a small bowl of crushed gemstone dust, bits of lapis lazuli for deep blue, shards of malachite for green, a hint of carnelian for soft red. In medieval practice, artisans often used powdered minerals, shells or ash from beechwood to tint glass. Ash from beech trees with its silicates was prized for adding subtle clarity. Aveline warms the furnace, coaxing flame over charcoal and charcoal smoke, letting the heat climb to its slow crescendo. The bellows breathe. Whoosh, whoosh, a rhythmic sigh, pushing oxygen in, urging flame higher, urging sand to soften. You lean in, drifting nearer, as the molten glass melts the gemstones and sand into a glowing puddle of honey gold liquid. The glow is quiet, molten, The hum of cooling glass, as she lifts the crucible and turns it in the flame, is like a lullaby in slow motion. She dips a thin rod, a hollow pipe, into the liquid, then lifts it, and the glass threads into a thin bubble of color. Her breath, measured and still, cools the edge. Each color she adds holds symbolic meaning in medieval churches: blue for heaven's vault, green for renewal and life, red for divine love, gold for holiness. Each pane tells a silent prayer. Softly, she names each hue under her breath: azure, viridian, carnelian, each a secret word, each carrying intention. She lets it rest, lets it spin, shapes it with gentle tongs, carves a delicate petal, a flame-kissed leaf. Nearby, shards of broken glass rest in shallow wooden trays, flickering in lamplight. While she works, a breeze drifts through a narrow window high in the wall. It brings whispers of the garden beyond, ivy leaves rustling, petals falling, a distant trickle of water in stone gutters. The sound is thin, silver, almost inaudible. Let that drift into your ears now. Every so often the workshop door creaks, perhaps a cat slips in, or a rat scuttles. But Aveline barely notices. Her focus remains on the glass, the alchemy, the slow transformation of hard things into light. In medieval times, glassmaking was considered wondrous, almost magical. Some believed windows held protective powers, that light passing through colored glass could guard souls. Tonight, she is crafting a rose window fragment for a chapel. She fits each shard into a lead lattice frame, the metal soft, temperate, warmed by her breath. Each piece fits like a small puzzle, the edges whispering together, the seams holding like quiet stitches. The frame vibrates faintly as she taps it into place, aligning the curves. In the hush, you feel the workshop breathe with the cathedral. Stone walls absorbing the hum, the windows beyond watching with silent patience. Candlelight flickers on rough plaster, casting dancing shadows that sway, like slow dancers in an unseen ball. You are weightless as the flames glow, drifting between shadow and light. The night deepens. The city of Saint-Denis settles under a blanket of mist, and from every chimney drifts a thin curl of wood smoke. The streets are hushed. Cobblestones slick with dew, shutters drawn, dogs sleeping in the corners of bakeries. Somewhere, far off, the watchman's bell calls the hour, a low, drowsy sound, fading almost before it's heard. Inside the workshop, the furnace glows faintly, a pulse of orange deep within shadow. Aveline lies on a straw mattress near her workbench, wrapped in a wool blanket that smells faintly of soot and lavender. She always kept lavender there, a medieval charm against bad dreams. Many glassblowers, she'd once been told, sprinkled herbs in their workshops to calm the air, to steady the fire. Outside her window, the moon has climbed higher, shining through a traceried arch of stone. It touches the finished pane, the one she set aside earlier, and the colors shimmer, faint but alive. Blue breathes into red, red fades into gold, and green curls between them like a vine. The effect is subtle, like a heartbeat inside glass. Her eyelids flutter, but she is not quite asleep. She listens to the cooling metal frame tick, to the slow expansion and contraction of stone around her. Medieval builders believed cathedrals were living beings, that the stones inhaled the day's warmth and exhaled it by night. And in her drowsing state, Aveline begins to feel it, that gentle rhythm, that breath. The whole cathedral seems to sigh. The sound begins faint, like a breeze caught in distant rafters. Then it becomes a soft humming, a tone so low it's almost imagined. The walls hum, the window panes quiver ever so slightly, and the old wooden beams creak as if turning in their sleep. Aveline sits up slowly. The workshop feels warmer now, though the fire has burned low. The colors from her glass panel dance faintly along the walls. Blue, green, and gold, flickers tracing along the plaster. She feels the air move gently across her cheek. She whispers into the darkness, "Are you awake too?" Perhaps it is the cathedral answering, or perhaps it is her imagination. But the wind through the lancet window seems to form words. Not words to the ear, but to the heart. A murmur of history, of devotion, of patient creation. The voice, soft as dust, speaks through memory rather than sound. I remember all the hands that built me, all the hearts that sang within me, all the colors you bring, breathing light where darkness once rested. The whisper folds into silence again, and the hum subsides. Aveline smiles faintly. In her mind, she sees masons carving gargoyles centuries ago, apprentices hauling stone, monks scribbling prayers in candlelight. She knows that every piece of glass she shapes is another word in the cathedral's long conversation with the sky. She lies back again, and as she does, she drifts between waking and dreaming. Her breath slows. Her heartbeat becomes the same rhythm as the cooling furnace. Now, imagine this with her, the world within her dream. You may picture yourself floating in that same glow. She dreams of a river of molten glass, stretching beneath her feet like sunlight made liquid. Around her, colors drift in slow spirals. Sapphire blues, emerald greens, amethyst purples. The surface of the molten glass is smooth and warm. Every ripple sends a shimmer of light into the air. She steps forward carefully, and as she does, her footsteps form petals of color beneath her. Each step a hue, each hue a sound. Blue hums like a low flute. Green sighs like leaves in wind. Gold rings like distant bells. The whole dream is a song of color. Above her, she sees the shadow of Saint-Denis, vast, luminous, built entirely from glass instead of stone, each wall alive with light. And within that glowing cathedral, tiny specks of brightness move like fireflies. They are the artisans, the ones who built, shaped, painted, and dreamed before her time. They work silently as though underwater. You can almost hear their movements, the soft tap of hammer on lead, the breath into the pipe, the brush of cloth on cooled glass. In the dream, Aveline joins them. She feels weightless, at peace. The dream's silence is complete, not empty but full of purpose, full of warmth, the kind of silence that welcomes sleep deeper and deeper. A soft sound brings her back, the smallest clink of metal against glass. Her eyes open, the workshop again, the furnace still dimly aglow, the world exactly as she left it, but bathed now in faint dawn blue. Somewhere beyond, a rooster calls, its echo softened by stone. The bells of Saint-Denis prepare for morning prayers. She sits up, stretches, and walks barefoot to the window. The air is cool, tender. She sees the first streaks of sunrise stretching over Paris, pale and rose-tinted, turning the dew on rooftops to tiny prisms. In that dawn light, she sees how her glass, the one that glowed under moonlight, now blooms anew. The blues brighten, the reds deepen, the greens seem to wake. In medieval lore, glass was sometimes called frozen light, sunlight captured forever. Aveline smiles. She thinks of her dream and the cathedral's hum, and wonders if perhaps the old builders still watch. She pours herself a small cup of water, drinks slowly, and sets her hands upon her bench once more. The warmth of morning creeps in through the stone, and she prepares a new batch of sand, a new breath, a new beginning. Now imagine that morning sunlight with her. You can almost feel it warming your skin, filling you with quiet energy. But you do not need to wake fully yet. You are allowed to linger in that borderland between dreaming and waking, where the air is still and the world glows like colored glass. Listen to the soft rhythm of breath, in, out, the same slow rhythm as the bellows, as the hum of cooling glass, as the pulse of the cathedral itself. Each breath is a shaping, a smoothing, a cooling, each one bringing you deeper into peace. As the final sparks fade from the furnace, Aveline whispers a morning prayer. For every shard that broke, let there be light through the cracks. For every silence, let there be song in color. For every dream unfinished, let the next dawn continue the work. The workshop is silent again, but not empty. It is full of warmth and care and stillness. And as you listen, you realize, perhaps that same warmth glows in you now, a slow fire of peace. Let it rest there. Let it breathe. Let it sleep. The day unfolds softly. Beyond the window the courtyard stirs, faint footsteps on gravel, a bucket drawn from the well, the murmured Latin of monks greeting the sun. Yet inside Aveline's workshop, everything remains still, suspended between night and morning. Aveline sits by the hearth, her back against the stone wall. The warmth of the banked coals touches her shoulder blades, and she lets herself drift. Her fingers are smudged with ash, her hair tied loosely, her face calm. On the work table lie fragments of glass, blue, green, gold, clear. Each shard catches the rising light, scattering it in small, trembling patterns on the walls. The effect is like the shimmer of water under leaves. The air smells of beechwood ash, warm iron and lavender. It is the scent of completion, of work that is both done and unending, for the craft always continues. In the quiet, she remembers a saying her master once told her, "Glass holds memory. Even when cooled, it remembers heat." And so she sits, remembering warmth, allowing it to settle into her bones. Imagine yourself there beside her, the same warmth brushing your skin. The glass fragments gleam like scattered jewels, tiny worlds contained in crystal. When the wind shifts, light passes through them, projecting color onto your hands, your lap, the floor. The blue feels cool, serene. The red hums with low, comforting heat. The green is soft and tender, the hue of moss and safety. Each color has its own breath, its own calm pulse. Aveline picks up a sliver of amber glass and holds it to the sunlight. The piece glows like honey. She smiles. In medieval times, glass of this tone was called aurum vitreum, golden glass, and it was said to carry the blessing of the sun. She sets it beside the others, arranging them by hue, a meditation in itself. You might feel her movements mirrored in your mind, each gesture slow, deliberate, graceful. She moves like someone shaping silence. And with each motion, you find your own breathing slowing further. Your heartbeat gentles. Your eyelids grow heavier. It's all right to feel the pull of sleep now. The story itself begins to dim, like embers sinking beneath ash. A soft sound breaks the stillness, the faint pad of paws on stone. From the doorway a small tabby cat appears, tail curling lazily. It mews once, softly, then curls near the hearth. Aveline laughs under her breath. The cat has no name, yet it comes each morning to share the warmth. She breaks off a crumb of bread from her breakfast and sets it on the floor. The cat bats at it, uninterested, preferring instead the flickering light on the walls. Its eyes, golden and half-closed, reflect the glow of the cooling glass. For a moment, time folds inward. There is no workshop, no cathedral, no year. Only the woman, the cat, the faint hum of light. In medieval households, cats were half-wild companions, keepers of granaries, wardens of silence. Monks sometimes said they kept watch against dreams gone astray. You may imagine this cat doing just that now, keeping your sleep safe, circling once before curling beside you in the quiet. Its slow, steady purr merges with your breath, a rhythm of comfort. The light brightens, filling the room with gold. Aveline stands and lifts her finished panel. It gleams now with full morning color, the blues deep and heavenly, the reds rich as rose petals, the greens alive. She turns it gently in her hands, and for an instant the entire workshop fills with shimmering reflection. In that light she sees herself, but also others. Her teacher. Her mother, once a washerwoman humming by the river. The masons, the monks, the long line of unseen workers whose breath and sweat shape the cathedral's bones. The realization moves through her softly, like water over stone. She is not alone in her craft. Every breath, every movement, every dream adds to a chorus, centuries long. And you, the listener, are part of that too, one quiet heartbeat in an endless rhythm of creation and rest. You may feel that connection now, the rhythm of the glassblower's breath, the rhythm of your own breath, the steady, eternal rhythm of the cathedral's calm. They blend together until it is impossible to tell one from the other. As Aveline sets the panel down, a final beam of light touches the ceiling, then fades. The sun climbs higher, and the workshop settles into stillness again. The fire sighs. The cat stretches. Dust motes drift through sunbeams, turning lazily like snow. If you listen closely, you can still hear the bellows from earlier, faintly, far away, a soft echo of breath in the background of thought. Whoosh! Whoosh! Each exhale of the bellows matches your own exhale. Each soft intake, your inhale. The rhythm becomes one, your body, the story, the cathedral, the world outside, and then even that sound quiets. What remains is warmth, a slow pulse of peace, the hush of something beautifully complete. Before she closes her eyes, Aveline whispers to herself, and perhaps to you too, a final blessing learned from an old guild prayer. May your hands find rest like cooled glass. May your heart remember the light that shaped it. May your dreams, like color through window pane, turn every shadow into glow. She leans back in her chair, the cat asleep beside her, and lets her own eyelids fall. The story grows very quiet now. The light softens to silver, and you, listening, breathing, resting, drift lower, deeper, slower. In this silence, even time seems to sleep. Allow your breath to be the only sound that matters. Each breath slower than the last, each pause longer. Let your muscles feel heavy and safe. Your thoughts, if they come, are soft and fleeting, like dust in sunlight. You are warm. You are calm. You are surrounded by quiet light. Imagine yourself now lying beneath the cathedral's rose window, the one Aveline made. Sunlight filters through in patterns of blue and gold, painting your face, your hands. The colors shift as clouds pass, a slow dance of shadow and light. Above you, the great arches seem to breathe. The air is cool and fragrant, and you know somehow that the story has not ended, only folded into stillness. You are the stillness. You are the light through glass. You are the deep breath before sleep. Drift now. Drift slowly. Drift completely. Let go of the edges of thought. Let go of the story, the room, the sound. Only the glow remains, the warmth in your chest, the rhythm in your breath, the endless peace of being. Sleep now. Sleep deeply. Sleep as the cathedral sleeps, solid, timeless, filled with gentle light. Welcome, dear listener. You've arrived at a quiet moment just for you. Let your body settle wherever you are. Feel the weight of your limbs gently sinking into the surface beneath you. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw unclench. Let your breath slow. Inhale and exhale, like the tide pulling gently at the shore. With each breath, imagine a soft breeze brushing across your skin, cool but comforting, like the hush of twilight in a medieval village where the day has folded into dusk. Let your thoughts drift like lanterns on a still lake, floating, glowing, fading into the night. Now, as your body relaxes and your mind begins to wander, let me take you somewhere quiet, somewhere old, somewhere magical. Our story tonight begins beneath a velvet sky. In a cobbled town nestled between forest and sea, our story sets sail at the edge of a medieval village called Elderglen, a place where the stars seem to hang lower than anywhere else, where the moon is a trusted companion, and where, once a year, under its silvery gaze, The Lantern Guild gathers. Elderglen is not marked on any modern map. It lives in the folds of time, tucked between centuries. Its streets are lined with timber-framed homes, their roofs steep and moss-covered. And at the heart of the village, a winding path leads to the Lantern Hall. The Lantern Guild is a quiet brotherhood, not of warriors or nobles, but of artisans who shape light. They craft lanterns from horn and tin, from colored glass and carved wood, each one unique, each one bearing the mark of its maker. In medieval times, guilds were more than workplaces. They were families. Apprentices began their training as young as 12, and when they mastered their craft, they carved a symbol, small and secret, into their tools. A curled leaf, a crescent moon, a flame. These marks whispered of pride, of lineage, of belonging. And once a year, when the moon reached its fullest glow, the Lantern Guild held its midnight feast. No bells announced it, no town crier spoke of it. It was a tradition passed by candlelight, a secret kept in the flicker of flame. The feast was held in the orchard behind the Lantern Hall, where pear trees bent low with fruit, and the grass was soft as velvet. Each guild member brought a lantern of their own making, some tall and slender, shaped like towers, some round and squat, like pumpkins, some etched with runes that shimmered when the wind passed through. They hung them from branches, placed them on stone walls, set them floating in shallow basins of water, and as the orchard filled with light, it became a constellation on earth. The air was thick with the scent of honeyed bread, fresh from the communal oven, where bakers had worked since sunset. There were roasted apples, spiced with clove, and wheels of soft cheese wrapped in linen. The guild members wore robes of deep blue and soft grey, colours that mirrored the night sky, and on their sleeves, stitched in silver thread, was the symbol of the lantern flame. As the feast began, there was no speech, only the soft clinking of cups, the rustle of robes, and the low hum of a lullaby played on a wooden flute. The music was slow, like a heartbeat at rest, and it drifted through the orchard like mist. One by one, the lantern makers shared stories, not of war or conquest, but of light. Of the time a lantern guided a lost child home, of a flame that stayed lit through a storm, of a widow who kept her husband's lantern burning each night, long after he'd passed. These stories were not told loudly. They were murmured, like secrets between friends, and as each tale was shared, the lanterns seemed to glow a little brighter, as if they remembered. In medieval times, light was precious. Candles were made from tallow, rendered animal fat, and dipped again and again to build their shape. Lanterns were not just tools. They were guardians against the dark. Some believed that light could ward off spirits, that a lantern placed at the threshold kept misfortune at bay. Others said that certain colours of glass, blue for calm, red for courage, could influence the soul. And so, the Lantern Guild did not simply make objects. They made comfort. They made hope. As the feast continued, the moon climbed higher, its light mingling with the glow of the lanterns, creating a tapestry of silver and gold. Children of the guild members, wrapped in woolen cloaks, chased fireflies between the trees, their laughter soft like wind chimes. An elder named Master Thorn stood and raised his lantern. It was shaped like a ship, with sails of parchment and a hull of polished oak. He told the story of a sailor who had carried that lantern across the sea, and how, when he returned, he gave it to the guild as a token of gratitude. The lantern had survived salt and storm, and now it glowed with a steady flame. A reminder that even in the darkest places, light endures. As Master Thorn sat, a hush fell over the orchard, not of silence, but of peace. The kind of quiet that wraps around you like a blanket. That makes you feel safe. That makes you feel home. And so, dear listener, as you imagine the flicker of lanterns, the scent of honeyed bread, the soft hum of a flute beneath the stars, Let your breath slow once more. Let your thoughts drift. Like fireflies in the orchard, you are safe here, you are warm, you are welcome. As the night deepens, the lanterns begin to sway. Not from wind, but from the breath of the earth itself. A slow, rhythmic pulse, like the heartbeat of the village. The orchard is quiet now, not silent, but hushed. The kind of quiet that invites dreams. A young apprentice named Lyra tiptoes between the trees. Her lantern is shaped like a moth. Its wings made of thin parchment, painted with crushed berries and ash. She places it gently on a low branch and watches as the flame inside flickers, casting soft shadows that flutter like wings. Lyra has just finished her first year with the guild. She's learned how to shape tin with a hammer wrapped in cloth, how to polish horn until it gleams like glass, and how to whisper to the flame as she lights it, a tradition passed down from master to apprentice. "Speak kindly to the flame," her mentor had said. It remembers. Nearby, an elder named Sister Elwyn sits on a mossy stone. Her lantern is a sphere of green glass, etched with vines. She hums a tune older than the village itself, a melody once sung to guide travelers through fog. In medieval times, fog was feared. It was thought to be a veil between worlds, a place where spirits wandered, and where one could lose their way forever. So lanterns were made with care, some with mirrored backs to reflect more light, others with slits to cast directional beams. And in Elderglen, the Lantern Guild kept these traditions alive, not for fear, but for comfort. As Sister Elwyn hums, the children gather near. They sit cross-legged on woolen blankets, their cheeks rosy from cider. She begins to tell them the story of the lantern fox. "It's said," she whispers, "that deep in the forest lives a fox with fur like flame, and eyes that glow like lanterns in the dark." The children lean in, eyes wide, breath slow. "The fox appears only on the night of the feast," she continues, "to those who carry lanterns made with love." One child gasps softly, another clutches their lantern tighter. Sister Elwyn smiles, not to frighten, but to enchant. In medieval folklore, animals often carried wisdom. Foxes were seen as clever, owls as watchful, cats as guardians of the hearth. And so, the lantern fox became part of Elderglen's lore, a symbol of light in the wild. As the story ends, the children lie back on their blankets, their lanterns glowing beside them, their eyes drifting closed. Above, the stars shimmer like scattered seeds, and the moon, full and round, watches over the orchard. A gentle breeze rustles the pear leaves, carrying the scent of clove and honey, and the soft creak of lanterns swaying. Master Thorn rises once more. He walks slowly to the center of the orchard and places a lantern on the ground. It's shaped like a spiral, made of copper and glass, and inside, the flame dances in circles. "This," he says softly, "is the memory lantern." He kneels beside it and begins to speak the names of those who once sat among them. Lantern makers who have passed, but whose light remains. One by one, the guild members join him, each whispering a name, a memory, a moment. In medieval times, remembrance was sacred. Guilds kept books of lineage, records of apprentices and masters, and stories passed by firelight. The memory lantern glows brighter with each name, its flame steady, its warmth spreading. And as the final name is spoken, a hush falls again, not of sadness, but of reverence. The feast continues, but slower now, like a lullaby nearing its end. The flute plays once more, a melody soft as falling snow, and the lanterns shimmer in response. Some begin to dim, not extinguished, just resting. And so, dear listener, as you imagine the orchard bathed in gentle light, the stories whispered like wind through leaves, and the warmth of memory glowing in copper glass, let your breath soften, let your thoughts drift, let your body sink deeper into rest. You are safe here, you are warm, you are welcome. The orchard, now bathed in a gentle hush, begins to shimmer with dew. Tiny droplets cling to lantern glass and pear leaves. Catching the light like stars caught in cobwebs, the guild members begin to move slowly. Not to leave, but to share. They walk from lantern to lantern, admiring the craftsmanship, tracing the etched symbols with reverent fingers. Each lantern tells a story. Some are carved with scenes, villages, forests, constellations. Others are simple, a single pane of colored glass, a flame that flickers like a heartbeat. Lyra, the young apprentice, stands beside her moth lantern. An elder approaches, Mistress Calwyn, known for her lanterns shaped like birds. She smiles softly and places a hand on Lyra's shoulder. "You've given it wings," she whispers, "and it flies." Lyra beams, her cheeks warm. In medieval guilds, praise was rare, earned slowly, given gently. Mistress Calwyn continues walking, her robe brushing the grass. She stops beside a lantern shaped like a tower, its windows glowing blue. Inside, a tiny figure is carved, an alchemist stirring a pot. This lantern belongs to Brother Fenric, who once studied the stars. He believed that certain herbs bloomed only under specific constellations, and that lantern light could mimic moonlight to coax them open. In medieval times, alchemists were part scientist, part mystic. They believed in transformation, not just of metals, but of the soul. And so, Brother Fenric's lantern is more than art. It is a prayer. The feast begins to wind down, not with fanfare, but with stillness. The children, now asleep beneath woolen blankets, are gently carried home. Their lanterns are left glowing, a trail of light leading back to the village. The guild members gather in a circle, each holding their lantern close. Master Thorn steps forward once more. He carries a scroll tied with a ribbon of midnight blue. "This," he says softly, "is the Book of Flame." He unrolls it slowly, revealing names, dates, symbols, a record of every lantern made in the past year. Each entry is written in ink made from oak gall and iron salts. A medieval recipe that darkens over time, like memory itself. He reads the names aloud: Lyra of the moth flame, Fenric of the alchemist's glow, Calwyn of the winged light. And as each name is spoken, the lantern it belongs to glows a little brighter. It is a ritual of recognition, of belonging, of light passed from hand to hand. The Book of Flame is then placed in a wooden chest, lined with velvet, and locked with a key carved from bone. It will be kept in the lantern hall until next year's feast. The guild members begin to extinguish their lanterns, one by one, with a breath, with a whisper. "Rest now," they say. "Sleep well." In medieval times, it was believed that flame had a spirit, that to extinguish it without thanks was to invite misfortune. So each lantern is dimmed with care, with gratitude. The orchard, once aglow, now returns to shadow, but not darkness. The memory of light lingers, soft as a lullaby. Mistress Calwyn walks with Lyra back toward the village, their footsteps quiet on the cobblestones. The houses are dark, but welcoming. Smoke curls from chimneys, and cats sleep curled on windowsills. They pass the communal oven, now cooling, its stones still warm, its scent of honey and clove lingering in the air. In medieval villages, ovens were shared, a place of gathering, of stories, of bread. Lyra pauses and looks back at the orchard, now just a silhouette against the moon. "Will the lantern fox come?" she asks. Mistress Calwyn smiles. "Perhaps it already has." And with that, they disappear into the village, their robes trailing like mist, their hearts full of light. And so, dear listener, as you imagine the orchard dimming, the lanterns resting, the stories tucked into the Book of Flame, let your breath soften, let your thoughts drift, let your body sink deeper into rest. The village of Elderglen sleeps now, its lanterns dimmed, its hearths glowing low, its dreams drifting like mist through the valley. But in the lantern hall a single flame remains, a small, steady light, cradled in a lantern of clear glass and braided silver wire. This is the keeper's flame. It is never extinguished. It burns through seasons, through storms, through silence. In medieval times, some guilds kept a perpetual flame, a symbol of continuity, of craft passed from hand to hand, heart to heart. The keeper of the flame is chosen each year, not by vote, but by quiet consensus. This year it is Sister Elwyn. Her hands are steady, her voice is soft, her heart remembers. She sits beside the flame, writing in the book of flame, her quill dipped in ink made from walnut husks, her script looping gently like vines on a trellis. Outside, the orchard is quiet, but the lanterns, though extinguished, still glow faintly, not with fire, but with memory. Lyra, the young apprentice, cannot sleep. She tiptoes through the village, her cloak wrapped tight, drawn by the pull of the orchard, by the whisper of stories not yet told. She walks slowly, her boots soft on the mossy path, her breath visible in the cool night air. The moon, now beginning its descent, casts long shadows, and the trees seem to lean in, listening. Lyra reaches the orchard and finds her moth lantern, its wings folded, its flame asleep. She sits beside it and closes her eyes, remembering the stories, the laughter, the warmth, and then a rustle, soft, delicate, like silk brushing against stone. She opens her eyes and sees it, the lantern fox. Its fur glows like embers, its eyes shimmer like twin flames, its tail curls like smoke. It steps lightly between the trees, pausing beside each lantern, nosing gently, as if greeting old friends. Lyra holds her breath, not from fear, but from awe. The fox turns to hers, and for a moment their eyes meet. In medieval folklore, such moments were sacred. A glance from a creature of legend was said to grant insight or peace or dreams. The fox steps closer, and with a flick of its tail, the moth lantern glows once more, its wings fluttering, its flame dancing. Then, just as softly, the fox turns and disappears into the trees. Lyra sits in silence, her heart full, her breath slow. She knows she will not speak of this, not yet. Some stories are meant to be held close, like a flame cupped in the hands. She returns to the village, her lantern glowing beside her, her footsteps light. In the lantern hall, Sister Elwyn looks up from the book of flame and smiles. She does not ask. She does not need to. Some things are felt, not told. The keeper's flame flickers gently, as if nodding. And so, dear listener, as you imagine the fox slipping through moonlit trees, the moth lantern glowing once more, and the quiet understanding between generations, the morning light begins to stretch across the rooftops of Elderglen, soft and golden, like butter melting on warm bread. The village stirs slowly, not with clamour, but with quiet grace. Bird song begins, gentle trills and sleepy chirps, the kind that flutter through open windows and nestle into dreams. Inside the lantern hall, Sister Elwyn finishes her final entry in the Book of Flame. She closes it with care, wraps it in a cloth embroidered with stars, and places it in the chest beside the keeper's flame. The flame flickers once, then steadies, as if nodding in approval. Lyra, now curled beneath a quilt in her small cottage, dreams of glowing wings, of foxes made of fire, of stories whispered in the hush of night. Her moth lantern rests on the windowsill, its wings folded, its flame asleep. Outside, the orchard is kissed by dew. The lanterns, though extinguished, remain, a constellation of memory. In medieval times it was believed that places held echoes, that a stone wall could remember laughter. that a tree could recall a lullaby, and so the orchard remembers. It remembers the warmth of honeyed bread, the hush of stories shared, the flicker of flames that danced like dreams. The Lantern Guild will gather again next year under a velvet sky, with lanterns shaped like stars and ships and moths. But for now, the village rests. The cobblestones are warm beneath the sun. The hearths glow with morning fire, and the scent of pear blossoms drifts through the air. Mistress Calwyn walks through the village, her robe trailing behind her. She stops at each doorstep, leaving a small token, a sprig of lavender, a twist of ribbon, a pebble shaped like a heart. In medieval times, such tokens were blessings, left by healers, midwives, and lantern makers, to bring peace, to bring light. She reaches Lyra's cottage and places a feather beside the moth lantern, soft and white, a symbol of flight. Then she turns and walks back toward the lantern hall, her footsteps quiet, her heart full. The feast is over, but the light remains. And so, dear listener, as you imagine the village bathed in morning gold, the lanterns resting in the orchard, the stories tucked into the book of flame, let your breath soften, let your thoughts drift, let your body sink into the quiet of dawn. You are safe here. You are warm. You are welcome. Sleep well, and may your dreams glow gently, like lanterns in the night.